Hey, how's it going? I'm Josh from 91 Tech, and today we're going to be taking a look at the best iPhone you can buy in January of 2018. So if you've been here a while, you probably know how this works. We're going to go through each iPhone and talk about whether or not they're worth buying. We've got them all here from the $1,000 ones to the $50 ones, so there's definitely something for everybody. And at the end of the video, I will tell you what I believe to be the best value iPhone for your money. So let's just get right into this. Straight up, we have the iPhone 10. It's really expensive, but it's also basically the best smartphone, maybe besides the Galaxy Note 8. It's debatable, but it's definitely the best iPhone. You know, it's got the bezel-less display, it's OLED, it's super fast, has the A11 chip, has a really good camera, wireless charging, and overall it's just really awesome. But it's $1,000. So I personally use this iPhone, and as much as I love it, I really can't recommend it for most people. So only buy it if you want the best of the best, or if somehow you can find a good deal, maybe on contract or whatever. Going down the list, we have the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. They're both super fast. The smaller one is a little bit slower than the 8 Plus, but they're still both great. Really solid phones. They do have the kind of old design that we're used to seeing, but still they do it really well. Wireless charging again, which is awesome. I mean, they're more of the same, but they're better, right? And they're really good phones. So you're looking at $700 for the 8 and $800 for the 8 Plus. So these are very pricey, but you're also getting as much support as you're going to be getting with the iPhone 10, as well as speeds, and with the 8 Plus, very close to the same camera. So I'd say the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus are worth it. If you're looking for a new phone that's going to be really good, those are ones I'd actually recommend. Again, they're expensive, but if you have that kind of money to spend, they're actually probably better value than the iPhone 10, and so yeah, I would say go for it. Moving down the list, we have the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. They're still both pretty fast with the A10 chip with either 2 or 3 gigabytes of RAM respectively. They both have a good camera, not quite on par, but close with the iPhone 8. It has the old aluminum backing, which means no wireless charging, but it is quite a bit more durable than the 8 and 10, so that's always a plus. It's all around a really solid phone actually in 2018, which is great. Price-wise though is where we get a little bit questionable. So you start at $550 for the 7 and $670 for the Plus, and that's on apple.com. I'd say if you're going to buy new from Apple, I would definitely recommend just bumping it up to the 8. They're still really good phones, but for $150 more, it doesn't really seem worth it to me to go for the 7. The 8's going to last you longer, it's going to be faster, it has a slightly better camera, and overall it's just going to be a better phone for only $150. So I would say go to the 8, unless you can find a good deal on contract, or if you can find a good one used. I've seen them for $400 used, which is actually not bad. Regardless, these are still very good phones, and if you're going to pick one up, you aren't going to be disappointed. So let's move down the list to the iPhone 6s. The phone is pretty fast still with the A9 processor and 2 gigs of RAM, but it is not water resistant, which is a little bit too bad, but it does have the headphone jack, which is nice. The camera is surprisingly good with the same megapixel count as the 7 and 8 and 10. It's not quite as good, it doesn't have as many features, but it still looks actually really good. Even on iOS 11, the 6s performs well, usually. If it has a bad battery, as we've heard about all of this stuff, it doesn't perform that great. So if you're buying used, that's something to keep in mind. Apple.com still sells these for $450 for the 6s and $550 for the Plus model. So this phone is really good, but I wouldn't recommend buying it new from Apple. You're probably going to want to look for a good used or refurbished deal, or maybe even from contract, since a lot of places do $0 for a 2-year contract or plan or whatever, and that's not bad. You could use eBay.com or Craigslist and get one for around $300, but then you're really kind of you're risking getting a bad battery, although Apple is only charging like $30 now for replacement, so that's actually not a bad idea. Moving on from that, we have the iPhone SE. Apple sells these for $350, which is not bad. The phone is just as fast as the iPhone 6s in basically every way. It also has the headphone jack, but it doesn't have a couple cool features like 3D touch, and it also has a quite small display at only 4 inches, which some will like and some will hate, but it results in a lower price point. Again, that price point is $350, which is pretty solid, but you can find better deals, especially if you're buying used for only like $200, or get a really good deal buying on contract. Keep in mind that the iPhone SE might have an updated model coming in March, and so if you were to buy a brand new iPhone SE from Apple, probably are going to regret it. I would actually say wait on the iPhone SE just a few more months, wait till the SE2 comes out, and then maybe jump on that. Or if you're going to buy used, then just go for it. Keep in mind the battery thing from the 6s still applies here. You get a bad battery, your performance might not be great. All around though, the iPhone SE is still a really good phone. We can go back even further, but these phones aren't as good, and that would be the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus for the first one. I wouldn't really recommend buying these due to them being quite slow on iOS 11, even if they do have a solid battery. For the price, I just don't think they're worth it. You can find them used for around $200, but I just don't think that that's really worth the money. It's not bad for a budget option, but considering the SE is also about $200, if you can give up the bigger screen for the SE, then I would say that's probably the thing to do. The iPhone 5S also isn't really the best option anymore, although it is super cheap at around $100 on eBay, so that's actually not bad. It runs iOS 11 okay, not great, even worse than the iPhone 6, just slightly. But again, it's not horrible if you need a good budget phone. If we go even further back in time, you have the iPhone 5 and 5C, which are phones that I would still recommend. You know, you're gonna buy them used, but you can find them for $50, which is crazy. So they can't run iOS 11, they're stuck on iOS 10, but that's a good thing because it keeps them a little bit faster and they perform really well. They have decent cameras, they have pretty decent builds, they're decent speeds, I'd say, for the most part. And so I would actually recommend these for, you know, anybody who's really on a budget or maybe needs a phone as an iPod. I actually did a whole video on that, which link down below if you want to see it. Then you have the iPhone 4S, which we're not even going to talk about. It's too slow, don't buy it, it's not worth it. Just bump yourself up to the 5 or 5C if you're really at that price point. So yeah, we're not going to go any further than that. Any phone past the 5 and 5C are just too slow and too old to even consider. So all in all, what is the best iPhone you can buy? Well, that really depends on you. If you're looking at a new phone, the iPhone 8 is probably the best one I would recommend. If you're buying used, I would go for the iPhone 6S, SE, or 7, as they're all actually at really good price points respectively. If you want the best, you go for the iPhone 7 at $400. If you want the second best, you can get the 6S at around $300. You have the SE at around $200, if not less. And those are really solid options. I think overall, the absolute best of value iPhone is going to be the iPhone SE, especially if you can find it for under $200. And if you have basically no money, the iPhone 5 and 5C aren't bad options at around $50. So I hope this helped. If you have any questions for me, you can leave it in the comments below. Hopefully I'll get to it. Overall, I think buying an iPhone is kind of a big deal, and you should definitely do more research than just what I'm saying here. So I will leave all the reviews I have, all my current reviews, down below in the description if you want to go watch any of those for any phone that I mentioned here. And yeah, that's all I've got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed. If this helped at all or you found it interesting, make sure you drop a like and consider subscribing if tech is your thing. Comment below which iPhone you think is the best of value. And without further ado, I'm Josh from 91 Tech, and I will see you all next time.